Welcome, welcome, welcome to MHHS-Eyes Wide Open. This is your host, Anita Ill, along with my co-host, Ms. Raheem Alafil.
Peace and love, Moorish. Peace and love, Anna E. Peace and love, everybody. Definitely glad to be back again. Islam.
Peace and love.
What
And
I'm talking about.
RVBey.
Islam, peace and love to all.
Peace
All
and
right,
love.
peace and love.
All
right. And we do not have Cuyo with us today. He had to take care of some family business stuff. Nothing serious, just, handling family. So
Sure.
it is just us today, us three here today. But he might join us if he's done with what he's doing. So if he joins in, he'll be here as well. I want to send a big shout out to our internet listeners. The chat room is open. Thank you so much for joining us every week. Big shout out to our family over in Great Britain. Islam, Islam, Islam. And, of course, to our family over in South Africa, Japan, the Netherlands, Islam, Brother Albacet, to family over in the Philippines, Brazil, Venezuela, Cuba, Mexico, and to areas we have yet to connect to. Thank you so much for joining in each week. Big shout out to our callers. Thank you so much for calling in, filling up the phone lines before the show even begins. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much to everyone for lending your energy and, participating in this unifying of family as we uplift fallen humanity. Thank you so much. All right, so each week what we do is a public service announcement where we make a mention of family members that has been kidnapped and are being held hostage for income. Unconscionable enrichment is what they're called. And they're also human trafficking and genocide. The reason that we say this, and you can do the research and you will find this to be true, is that the employees that are kidnapping the people off of the street are literally corporate employees, contractors who have been hired to administer safety amongst corporations for the benefit of the people. Instead, what they're doing is they're literally kidnapping the people off the street, demanding under threat of life and property income, and in all cases where they are kidnapped and held hostage, they are submitting fraudulent documents, receiving income for alleged care of long-term clients, in addition to extorting income from the people that they have kidnapped and their families. This is absolute ransom. And if you go back into like the 12th, 13th century and read up on Great Britain and the Tower, the very same thing was done. They would literally kidnap people off the street for no reason, and they would throw them in the tower. And if you wanted to get food to eat, your family had to give up large amounts of income to ensure that you would be treated well, would have food to eat, and in some cases would even have heat to keep you warm because over in Great Britain, it's extremely cold sometimes, and sometimes it can be so cold as to, you would just die from the cold. So this was an extreme situation. The very same thing is happening right now on American soil, mostly by corporations that were established by the kings of Great Britain. They are still perpetuating this policy, or I should say, this what they call statutes, because they are statutes in Great Britain, but on American soil, the rule is law, and that law is the American Constitution. So we have what is called English law now being imposed on the Aboriginal indigenous people on American soil, which is why they can never, ever, ever have jurisdiction. But you won't know that unless you do your research and you know who is who and what is what. So what we do is we make an announcement, and we reference the Free National Appellation of the Moor. We make mention of the corporation that, or I should say the corporation that these employees operate through, who are kidnapping the people, and then in addition to the Union State that is in purview, and by purview we mean the Union State is bound and obligated pursuant to the American Constitution to protect all people from foreign and domestic invasion. If we don't have the corp name, which is referenced as county, city, town, township, or borough, all of these denote corporations, then we just make mention of the Union State that the corporation is in purview to. So we start off with our sister RVBey, who was kidnapped through a joint venture between Memphis and Shelby Corporation under the purview of Tennessee. We have Daoud Ill under the purview of Arkansas, Amir Moslem Ill, Kusu Ra Pushbey under the purview of Missouri, Asar Patal Amin Rabe under the purview of Ohio, Jeremy Taylor Ill, Cherry Thorn Bay, Jamie Cal Brooks Bay, Joseph Connaday Ill, Kush Amir Bunch Ill, Emmanuel Billings Bay, Yasin Khalid Alamin Ill, and Michael Curry Bay, all kidnapped under the purview of North Carolina. Noble Crisco Ill under the purview of New Jersey, Messiah Aziz Ill and Crystal Ill, both kidnapped through a joint venture between Mercer, Freehold, and Trenton Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. We're still waiting on word of Patricia Bay's baby, kidnapped by the Atlantic Corporation under the purview of New Jersey, as well as Malik Ill Bay, also kidnapped by the Atlantic Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. Eldridge Sharon Fisher Ill. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say some great news. The brother Malik El Bay is not in he's not in confinement anymore. The brother is home. I just talked to him yesterday, so he could get stretched off the list.
All right, so Malik Ill, that was kidnapped by the Atlantic Corporation under the purview of New Jersey, has been liberated and has been freed. Yeah. All right, that's good to know.
For sure.
All right, we have Eldridge Sharon Fisher Ill and Marquisa Dion Ill, both under the purview of Indiana. Solomon Ill Bay and Mui Abu Bay under the purview of Texas. William Barrett Ill under the purview of Virginia. Bomani Abidwil Ill, kidnapped by the Chesapeake Corporation under the purview of Virginia. Che Ray Bay under the purview of West Virginia. Thomas Lee Bay under the purview of California. Victor Eduardo of Wada is Ill, kidnapped by the Holland Corporation under the purview of Georgia. All right, so those are our Moors that have been kidnapped and are being held hostage for income. If you have a family member or someone you know that has been kidnapped and you would like them added to this weekly roster or list of our Moors that have been kidnapped and are being held hostage for income, send an email to MHHS-Eyes-Wide-Open@gmail.com, and in the subject line, put kidnapped Moor, and I will add them to the list, and we will, make mention of them, or a public record will be created for them as well. All right, so that is our announcement. Last week we did a Freestyle Tuesday, and it was most informative, and we got to build and share together, but we don't feel like the people had enough of an opportunity to speak. So what we decided to do again this week is another Freestyle Tuesday just for you, our listening audience, giving you an opportunity to put issues on the table that are important to you. So if you have a question, a comment, a concern, anything at all that you would like to share with the family across the nation, press 1 on your telephone dial, and we will begin to take callers. But before we take callers, we just want to make mention of a most noble brother that has gone through some trying time and survived them, and is here and alive and well and can live to tell his story, as we all ought to be telling our story. So, Rob, what is the brother's appellation? We spoke to him before the broadcast.
Yes,
we just wanted to make mention.
Yes, because we had decided it's RVBey, and good friend of Asim Bey, and who's out in the corporate Arizona, and we had spoken with them earlier, and we can also introduce what we're going to be doing, which you have been asking for people to do for a while, but it looks like it's going to come into true fruition. And once we show that, we will be doing Moorish Nation Public Records. Like your announcement is your announcement, but public records is really going to be very good for keeping the actual record. Now, Moorish Nation Public Records, by the way, is the site in which you had initiated, Sister Anna L., and I'm sure a lot of people have gone there. But now we're going to take it to another level, and we're going to have one of the Tuesdays where we will have a public record of those, such as, for instance, RVBey and many others, I'm sure, who have been kidnapped for no reason because, well, there is a reason. They're making finance off the people, and they are very desperate. So all that has been said before in terms of all of us collectively not taking this and enforcing the law against them, the Constitution, has to come into serious play right now for all of us, and that is why I am so sure. That is why the prophet said there is but one supreme issue. He said, and that issue is to enforce the Constitution for the United States of America, which is the American National Constitution for the North American Republic. So that has to be enforced by all of us collectively. What we have is, a dichotomy of emotions, of feelings, of experiences, and then we throw racism, some of us, in it. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with them making finance off the people, being the ones who are, look, if they're not able to kidnap people off the street, they're going to not be able to put food on their plate. I don't know how. Yep. It's just as simple as that. It's not even, because they produce nothing. See, if there's government, it would be preserving the rights of the people. Like I understand now why it says wake up, because that is a fact. Now we can get into what they're doing. All right, so let's identify who they are and what they are doing, and it's criminal. Period.
It is absolutely criminal. It's so absolutely criminal. But people, you gotta do your research and you gotta know why it is criminal, and that's why it's imperative to actually one of the most important elements in any claim issue is the proper parties need to be identified. So we are going to have to go back to the drawing board with this one, because we've been thinking for a long time that first the people that was attacking us was the state, and it wasn't the state. So what we have to realize is it's not the state. So if it's not the state, who is it? It's these county, city, township boroughs. What is that? Who is that? Where do they come from? Are they literally government, or are they companies/corporations? How they get started? How they get into anything associated with government? And what you will find when you do the research on that is that a lot of the government functions was contracted to these county corporations. And amazingly, one of the things that I discovered is that the police, they are contracted to maintain, I should say, enforce the statutes, which is policies and procedures. Remember, statutes is not the law. They are the policies and the procedures that administer the law. So their function is to administer a public safety. And amazingly enough, if you go and do research, the police fall under public safety. Now, and the question that we need to ask ourselves is, who were they contracted to keep the people safe from? And that would be corporations. So when they're pulling people over, and your tail light is out. That's supposed to be imposed on commercial automobiles. Because if the the operator of the commercial automobile tail light is out, and people are traveling as they have a constitutionally secured right to do on the land, if they are traveling and because this tail light is out, it causes the people to get harmed, that employee of the corporation is liable. So the police are not supposed to be pulling people over. In their private capacity, they're supposed to be pulling people over in terms of maintaining their vehicles in safety, who work for these various corporations, and they are operating a motor vehicle for profit, and that's why they're in the public safety venue. So their jurisdiction they've gone so far outside of their jurisdiction, and the only reason that can happen is because the vast majority of people don't know, and we don't know, and we will never know, because we send our children to these institutions that they have established because they submitted documentation that said that they are providing a service, and because we don't, and this service is called school, and they can do anything they want because they submitted a proposal that they was going to provide a service, and that's what they're doing. We have the same opportunity to do that. So I went on a tangent a bit, but we've got like an hour and 39 minutes, where actually we have 2 hours and 39 minutes. And so if it's all right with everyone, we're going to begin taking our callers. And once again, if you have a question, an issue, a concern, a comment, a statement that you would like to make, this is another Freestyle Tuesday just for you. So this is your opportunity to speak. Press 1 on your telephone dial, and we will take the callers in the order that we receive them. All right?
Oh.
All right. So our first caller is caller 443-376. You are live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Maxim.
Islam. I am Hassan Ghazi Obey at Northwest Maxim. How's the family?
Islam.
All is well.
Islam. The only quick question I wanted to put on the table for the family is for you guys to expound upon the importance of, and I had asked this not too long ago in another broadcast of Grand Sheikh Cujo, but I wanted to put it on a table here in this forum as well because I think it's so important, and that is the importance of having a pure heart and sincere intent and making sure we're basing everything from our studies to how we interact with one another in love. So that was the only thing I wanted you guys to expound upon, the importance of a pure heart, sincere intent, and operating in love with one another. That's all. Islam. Peace and love.
Islam, that's a great question. I just want to make one interjection here. It's funny because we were talking about some things regarding this earlier. I was with someone earlier. But first and foremost, the purity of life. That's in, what is that, chapter 5, Ms., with the tools of the workshop of the mind and going up the steps or that lead to the purity of life. We're all here to perfect that. Remember, it's fallen humanity. If it wasn't that, we wouldn't have this need to have a pure heart. I mean, we really got to realize that. So yes, it is important, and if one is truly striving for that, then they will use the tools necessary in order to accomplish it, like any other task. And those tools are there, and you'll find in chapter 5 of the Circle 7 Holy Quran, it explains to you what they are and what they're used for, etc. like that, even though they do an analogy with carpentry or building, but it's the same thing because you're building in your mind and your heart. But see, I think that most people, not all, but most people are born pure and heart. You just look at a child. The child has already what its intent will be. But then again, with these generations now, a lot of that energy has corrupted it. So going back to where that corruption of pure heart is, which is the core, right? That's your core. That's everybody's core, is the heart. Your heart sees and hears before you do. So I think that they are, but I think that especially now, as we peel back this onion, if you will, you will find that the things that we've allowed ourselves to indoctrinate to or be indoctrinated by, the things that we have subscribed to that someone has prescribed or suggested or even including schools, that right there, all of that is what causes the purity of you in your heart as in a child to get contaminated. There it is, contaminated. Then the things in which we look for, that we strive for, that we think makes us grand or better or wonderful or full, are all fictitious things that pass away. See, it is the moment that you recognize that. Like I had written on this thing, on the back of one of the books, the astrology books, from a revelation or unveiling that I had in words to write down, that the moment you realize that, quote, money is not everything, it's the moment you'll have everything. So I want to apply that right now, because the things that we've been taught that we should be striving for are the very things that keeps us from actually maintaining the purity of heart. Now, the other thing this leads to, and this is why I'm going to conclude, because this kind of attaches to what we were talking about earlier, and that's about judgment. It's like, wait a minute. Everybody says, you know, the Great Judgment Day, the Great Judgment Day. The truth is you're being judged as you go along, and it's not really judgment. It's contribution, retribution. Contribution, retribution. Tribute, whatever you contributed is what you will get back. This is just nature. But I thought about it. You know, people say, well, you know, there's going to be this Great Judgment Day. You know, we all know it's great and dreadful. That means that it can be good for you or bad for you, but that all depends on what you put in, which will determine what you take out. So as far as this day that's going to come, and they say it's going to be likened to some people looking at others through a glass, you know, because some people say, yeah, because we're going to be taken up in a ship or whatever, and seeing others continue to be burnt and tortured and stuff. And it's like, if people are thinking like, oh, yeah, this voice is going to come down and lead the way, right? All right, so if this is for all those who have eyes to see and ears to listen, if you don't have eyes to see and ears to listen, you're not going to hear that voice anyway. So that can't be what it is. It has to be that whatever choices you make right now is where you're going to find yourself tomorrow and the next day and whenever the day comes, because the day come is always here. Like tomorrow never gets here. It's always today. So this great and dreadful Judgment Day is not something that's going to happen on one day. It's not happening on one day. It's happening now. It's happening as we all live our lives, period, and learn our lessons and develop and perfect. Hey, that's it. On that ladder of perfection. It's happening as we go along. So I don't think you're going to be able to say, and this is important to people who may have this misconstrued, that one day you're going to be able to say to somebody, I told you so, I told you so. And the reason you can't do that, you know, and as you're saying to them, I told you so, you're watching them have dread on them, and you're looking through a glass or whatever, because you will not be able, you will not be able to say, oh, let me go save him because, you know, he really does have a good heart. Or let me go get Auntie Ann because, you know, she really does mean well. I know where she meant. It's not going to be like that, because it's going to be an individual choice for every single being. It's not going to be that anybody is going to be able to save you no matter whether they think you mean well or not. Only you can save you. So for those who think they're going to be looking on another side and looking at other people talking about I told you so, you can't tell them I told you so because they can't hear you. See, they don't have eyes to see nor ears to hear. And it's not a matter of, it's a matter of everybody gets what they're supposed to get based on what they do. You can't save anybody. If you are looking for the Savior, look within. If you're looking for your devil, as they call it, which is just lower self, look within. So it's not going to be like that. So all the people who are sitting back right now, because I know them, I hear them. Oh, yeah, I can't wait for the Judgment Day. So I can tell them I told you so. No, it won't be like that. It will not be like that. You will be going your way. They will be going there. What you will be able to see is that of which you already knew. Is that what you do comes back to you, and you will be able to see that certain people maybe will not be going down the same path that you may go down because they are simply unable to as of yet until they can keep their hearts and their thoughts pure, because the heart and the mind must be in connect. That's the marriage. That's the true marriage. That is the true marriage, whether with the soul and the body and the mind. It's really the Trinity, mind, body, and soul. That's what has to be in order. So, Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam. I would like to add on to that, if I may. When you talk about purity, you know, or purity in heart, there's actually a multi-dimensional aspect that you're looking at. And if I could give an example, I'll say it like this. Health is definitely an important subject. We realize that the older we get, the less we can do without taxing the body. Noble Drali mentioned something about Moors shall keep their body clean and pure with water. So, it might sound like it doesn't mean anything, but one step to actually being, in alignment with the mind, body, and soul, and purity of heart would be just the simple element of water, the life giver, if you will. On another note, you know what I mean, because we got to keep in mind that health aspect of purity is important. On another note, when we talk about purity in heart, you're also getting into the realm of what being white really, really means. As far as what Noble Drew Ali was mentioning, as far as, white meaning purity, purity meaning God, and God meaning ruler of the land. So you're talking about that right there is 3 dimensions, 3 aspects of what white or purity means. The purity in heart, there's 4. From there, you can go ahead and be, the ruler of your dominion, your land. You become the God. And I'm not just saying that drinking water is going to do that for you alone. I'm saying with a conscious enlightenment, if you will, or an enlightened mind, that that all of these aspects blend, so you can, be that love that you wish was out here or whatever, you know what I mean? So I think it's multiple dimensions to purity in heart. And, if we can consider all the aspects from the health to the metaphysical aspect, that all of that means something when you're talking about purity in heart. But then so many people get shied away because, they think that this European is the white man. And when we talk about being white, that it only has one aspect. No. When he said white means purity, purity means God, and God means ruler of the land. Those are 3 things right there that are interrelated to one word alone. So we have to understand that, all of those are aspects of not being, metaphysically dead, be it a civil litter mortus, or, physical atrophy, if you will, of one of the most important muscles in the body, being the heart. So I look at that, likened to our rights, right? When we exercise our rights, it's like exercising muscles. You have a body of rights, constitution, just like your body, cells, things that move together. I don't know, that's just, my multidimensional aspect or acknowledgement of purity in heart, Also, of course, it has a lot to do with character, conduct, and things of that nature. But again, it still goes back to the opposite of civil litter mortus, loving and loving yourself, and, that aspect of purity. That's my piece. Do you get my drift?
Islam, I definitely appreciate the correlations that you and Mother Roz are making. So it makes me want to just, add just one last question, and because you guys are leading to it, in my perspective, the importance of.
Before you go into your next question, I just want to add something on that subject as well.
Yes, go right ahead.
Because we talk about treating each other with love, but we have to look to ourselves first, because you can't give love if you don't love yourself. And a lot of us have self-hate going on as opposed to self-love. And so, and if you're doing things that's self-destructive to yourself, your mind, your body, then you're participating in self-hate, not self-love. So, one of the things the prophet said, he said so many amazing things. I mean, we could just take one of his prophecies and statements and just spend an entire lifetime just turning it over in our minds and thinking about it, and you'll never get to the next portion of it. But one of the most amazing things he said, and it took me a minute to get it, he said, I gave you enough to save a nation, now save yourself. It's important. It is so absolutely important and imperative for us to save ourselves, because it begins and ends with you. And so when we talk about loving others, you can't love others until you first love yourself. It's never going to happen. It's never, ever, ever going to happen. So our journey as we incarnate in this physical form and we go through various different experiences is to learn to love ourselves. That's it. That's all there is, really. There's nothing else. And it's kind of challenging for all of us to do, really, because we have a really hard time being objective. We have a hard time being objective with ourselves, like really being honest and truthful and looking at ourselves, reflecting. And isn't it interesting that the prophet said man's business is about reflection. And that's absolutely correct, because a lot of times we run in, but we ain't running from other people. We're running from ourselves. And we're running from ourselves because we are not liking ourselves. So it is not, in my opinion, it is not imperative to love others. It is imperative to love yourself. And in loving yourself, you will automatically love others.
Mm-hmm.
Islam?
Islam. I mean, you guys are making awesome points. I'm sorry, Brother Miz, I didn't want to cut your wisdom. You wanted to say something?
No, I stated my piece on the subject.
Well,
I was saying,
I got one last thing to say.
Yes.
That's also why it says, look for the best in others and give the best in you.
True.
I agree. And what I wanted to add, see, all three of you have brought to the table, and what is on my mind, this is the last question, the importance of, when you're loving self, that's synonymously, for lack of better words, it's like filling your own cup before you go to fill others. So in an act of loving self, where the prophet says, study, 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 and when you have asked what else to study, I would say study yourselves. So can you tie that in now with the practice of loving self by going to the Zodiac, getting your birth chart from certain websites as tools only, getting the ephemeris to understand the different ways that things are aspecting electionally or aspecting as far as transits to your natal planet, so that you can correspond that with an act of loving self and being able to as well as navigate, so that one can be able to make loving decisions and choices when practicing to bring things to fruition. So that's the last part of my question.
Well, as everybody's talking about loving self, right, first, which is necessary, then of course you would have to know self. And that's why no matter what so-called religious, discipline someone deals with, it always talks about man know thyself, man know thyself, man know thyself. But never says how that can happen, although it does say it in code. But you're right. So the benefit of knowing yourself with your higher self and your lower self is unveiled in the astrology chart. The aspects that are considered malefic and or opposing and or squaring or whatever, and the houses in which they're in is your lower self energy. So that's what the astrology will unveil. Now, once you know that, then you're busy about working on yourself. Like you said, if you want to ask what to study next, study you. So if you're busy about working on yourself for that perfection or perfecting, then you will not be able to be throwing stones at someone else. But more importantly than that, you would know yourself, and therefore you wouldn't be offended by someone who might point out, this is the reflection part, because everything you are, you reflect onto someone else. You reflect it, really. It's just reflected back. So then you wouldn't be offended when someone might pull your coat and say, whatever like that. You would have to really take into consideration of that. That's a part of the process of reflecting. But as you get to know who your higher self and your lower self is, therefore yourself, because you have two selves, we all do, then you would be spending time working on you, and you can't throw stones when you're living in a glass house, as they say. But better than that, you just simply would be working on you, because you are a wonderful being and has come here for a reason. But if you don't know what that is, because you won't even accept yourself, then you can't get to it. So once you can understand who you are or yourself, then you can be a better self, if you will, and you be busy about that. But most of the times you're here to do something that assists in your existence and at minimum in your existence and the existence of your progeny, which is why, and posterity, at minimum, you should be doing that. So that's why, even the documents of law says, this is for posterity. That means your children's children forevermore. So therefore, you would at least be spending time in whatever gift has been that you have or whatever qualities you have in perfecting that. That would be harmless to someone else. And it would then grow into this swelled up, a society that we're in of all these great things that people have. There's people who have wonderful gifts and talents and things to offer society, but they can't get to them because they have been deflected into some other, to some other value system that actually has no value. Islam.
Anyone else want to add? Well, that's fine, and that's the rest of my questions. And by the way, I just want to let you guys know in your emails that if you got them, I sent you a little audio gift. I won't go too deep into detail, but if you receive anything, just scroll all the way down to the bottom of that email. But it's 11 instrumentals where each instrument was tuned at 432 hertz. So it's something that you guys can enjoy, and I want you to enjoy. So when you see that email, just get a hold of it, and you have my permission to share with family and friends. Thank you so much for taking my call. Peace and love.
Thanks.
Islam.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that call. All right. Now, once again, this is another Freestyle Tuesday just for you. So don't be shy now, family. Press 1 if you have a question, comment, concern, issue, statement, anything, a thought. Press 1 on your telephone dial, and we will take your call. All right? Our next caller is caller 111111. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation and Northwest Mexico.
Yes, peace and love. This is RVBey. How you feeling today, all families? Calling from Turtle Island / Amexa. I love what you're doing. You keep doing the best for everybody. And I got to give you props to the utmost. I love it. How you just deliver all your good energy and your messages to the whole family around the whole planet because you're telling them the right thing. I just want to touch on that love. This is what I'm going to share with the family from my experience, living a holistic life for a while. Most people want to find out what loving themselves really is, and I found out how to do that a long time ago, so I would like to share that with everybody else. There's a way you can go about doing that, and it might work for you. So this is what I do. I do breathing exercises, which I do cause meditation, actually. I sit on the edge of my bed or anywhere I feel comfortable, and I breathe in through my nostrils, and I hold as much air as I can through my diaphragm until I can't take no more. And then I hold it, and I count in my mind for 30 seconds, and I exhale out through my mouth slowly to let all the stuff that's caught up in your thoughts flow right out of my breath. Then I do it the second time. Breathe through my nostrils, hold as much air as I can, and then I exhale out through my breath, through my mouth, 30 seconds after. Then I do that a third time while I'm thinking that everything in my body is just like a balloon. Everything is just going out of me. All thoughts, everything just disintegrates and it's empty. And I feel so relaxed. And I just meditate on one thing I really want. I send it out to the universe. And I notice that it usually comes back. And then I'll go in the bathroom and I'll find a big mirror or go anywhere in the household, find a mirror. And this really works. I would take my arms and look myself right in the mirror and put the biggest Kool-Aid smile on and hug myself so tight and tell myself auto-subliminal, I love myself. And I do that for 5 minutes, and you know something starts coming on you, and you start seeing yourself in the mirror really loving yourself. And then after that, when you leave out of there and you see others see a light in you, they be like, wow, something's about him. I love him. Even somebody that probably don't even like you for the minute, they just want to say, oh, I love you. I love you. There's something about your aura. That's what made me find out. That's how you can find out how to love yourself first before you have others love you. So if anybody wants to try that, any listening family around the globe that's listening to this show, I just pass some jewels on to you that you can take and utilize to love yourself first. Like the sister and the brothers be telling you on the show. You got to go within.
You know something, brother? When you talk about that inhaling and holding your breath and then breathing out, it's the breathing out that actually cleans out the system. And I was supposed that if someone held their breath long enough and then they breathed out, all in their mind would come what's most important. It's almost like near death or something, right? And So whatever you're thinking about, you're right, I can see that because, you know, they'll tell you to hold your breath, but it's really about breathing out and cleaning out the toxins. Every time you breathe, that's what you're doing anyway when you breathe out. Now, as far as the mirror thing, you know, I got you with that because one of the other things, too, is you can just look into the mirror and look into your own eyes. You want to talk about reflection? Look into your own eyes through that mirror for as long as you can, and let me tell you, you will see yourself. You will see some family members in you. You will see some, yes, you will. I did that once years ago, and it changed my whole path, but you're right. Wow. As I was looking in that mirror. Yeah, bro, I did. I never shared that with anyone. But as I was looking, I was looking for the reflection of self, and all kinds of thoughts came to me, and as I look back now at that, the direction of my life also changed. What I said I wanted to do, I just said it and it happened, and it's been that way because I actually, when you look in that mirror, you're not afraid of looking at yourself, and you will see. Listen, you will see yourself. You will see yourself, like I said, and you will see others, and you you will see strange. I mean, you know what I mean? You got to just do it.
It starts the healing process. It starts the healing because we all been wounded, psychologically wounded coming up, you know?
Yep.
So we doing the process, you know. Food is a part of it. You know, meditation is another part of it. And, you know, trying to send out good vibes as much as you can to the universe so you get that in return like a boomerang effect, you know? Because whatever you throw out to the universe is going to have to come back. That's universal laws. But, yeah, I just wanted to share that one. And also, you know, another thing we should start doing, we need to start cleaning out the fungus in our body with this, it's an herb that's called oregano, organic oregano drops. That's good to drop under your tongue, and you can feel the difference when you do that. It kills out funguses that's lurking anywhere in part of your body to start the detoxification process.
Yeah, but...
And don't abuse it. Don't abuse it now because it's really powerful. Oregano is powerful. You only need little drops.
I was going to say that. Yep. Just let me just interject here for our listening audience. If you have never used oregano before, it's oregano oil. You want to first try oregano oil as in a base of olive oil. Because if you don't, it's going to be too powerful for you, and it might make you sick. It's not that it's toxic or anything, but it is very aggressive, and you might not be able to tolerate it initially. It's something you have to work your way up to. So, but it's amazing, absolutely amazing. As because I have it. And it's really amazing, but it is something that you're going to have to work your way up to. You know, if you're not accustomed to it, you might not be able to tolerate it too well because it is very.
It'll get rid of any toothaches you have because really it's not your tooth that aches. It's the bacteria that's on your tooth, and oregano will absolutely destroy bacteria immediately. And it can start to reverse a decaying, when you have a tooth that's decaying, it can actually reverse that action because all that is bacteria.
And you notice a lot of Italians eat that in their food diet. They eat a lot of oregano. That's why they are where they are. They're healthy. Because they cook with it, everything, in their pizzas and their spaghetti.
You're talking about olive oil. You're talking about olive oil.
No, oregano.
Well, yeah, oregano, too, and olive oil.
Yeah, both of them. Those are good, too. Definitely.
And
coconut oil is superior. That's the best thing, you know. You can eat that. You can take scoops of it and take it down. That'll cleanse out your whole inside. You do it consistently, you know. That is real powerful. I want to touch on commerce, too.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. Well, before you do that, since we're on health, let me just say this real fast. Out of the Circle 7 Holy Quran, which is really to me like an oracle for all of these situations we find ourselves in this day, chapter 38 is called Holy Instructions from the Prophet, and it's called the Soul of Man. Now, the blessing, O man, of thy external part is health, vigor, and proportions. The greatest of these is health. And this is the statement that I love. What health is to the body, even that is honesty to the soul. So what he's saying is what health is to the body is what honesty is to the soul. So you must be honest with yourself. Back to reflection. So what health is to your body is what honesty is to your soul. It's wrong.
That's right. Now, what I was going to say about commerce, when you was dealing with all of us, you know, a lot of us that do get locked up, I was listening to a show not too long ago and found out that why a lot of us just get, you know, played on and just, you know, took in and snatched and kidnapped. I never knew it was set up like that, the way they have the fraudulent, you know, justice systems going on out here. It's so terrible that I think a lot of them don't realize how serious this matter is amongst us as a people because I heard once you step out your front door, when you see those highway patrolmen, they consider automatically you in commerce, especially when you got the tags that they're looking for. So right there, if they don't cut you no slack, even though you're doing what you need to do, don't worry about that. As long as you study, you're going to get out of your situation, because once you get out of your situation, you got a lot of ammunition to back you up from there. Like how y'all always say on all your shows, Sister Roz, Sister Anthony, and the brother, Cool Joe,
Ms. Rain,
and Ms. Rael, y'all already say it. Study, 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 study. Because the studying is going to go into your deep subconscious mind, and it's going to activate something that when they see your aura, even though if they do go off the deep end with you, they're going to know that they ass is grass at the end of the day. Because you have power that's beyond power out here. And that powerful thing is who you are, knowing who you are, and knowing that you're protected at all times by your ancestors and that Constitution, which is the organic Constitution, if you really study it and research. Because the information is out there. It should be no excuse why you don't want to study. But that's one of our hardest things. We don't want to take the time out to study, to see what's going on from what y'all been saying all along. You know? And even if they mess with you, it works out because we evolving and we in catch-up mode too, you know?
Yeah. I think the most important
you don't wake up.
Exactly. And I think the most important thing is that, you know, that loose word of they. We have to identify who it is, because there's someone, be it they employed by a company, a corporation, or whatever, matters not. That person is the one who did whatever they did to you. And just because they say, well, you know, they tell you they are law enforcement and they are the government, it don't matter who you are. You're violating the damn law and, you know, and violating the liberty, right?
Yeah, treason. They doing treason, highway treason. Even the Albion tell you they doing treason against you. That's to tell you that they know that they out of order and they out here doing a rule. That's why we don't never supposed to go up in none of their fictitious courts. No time. We deal with them all through the mail at all costs.
Right. If you have the right word.
We got to go international if we want to get served our justice. That's why we got to deal internationally.
First of all, let me just say this. All right.
Yeah.
You started out by talking about some type of a justice system. You said it was something like you know, some messed up justice system. And from your further conversation, it sounds like you're saying that these employees of these corporations have some judicial authority and have a screwed up justice system. That's not the case. That's why we have case law that says that they have no judicial authority and that they are incompetent to receive judicial authority.
Right.
And that's not really saying that, that's not name calling. That's really law, because you're dealing with a corporation that has been contracted to provide a service on behalf of the state. Now, you're saying that they're, you know, when you step out your door, they look at you as engaging in commerce. And if you have these tags on your private property, the presumption is you are engaging in commerce. We cannot accept that presumption. It is it is up to us to make the correction instead of accepting it and then creating these workarounds. First of all, we have got to know who we're dealing with. We are not dealing with government. That means that they have no judicial authority.
You already know.
The USPS, they say USPS, that's the postal contractor. They are not government. They were contracted. They ain't even hiding that from you. If you go to Google USPS, they tell you that they are a contractor. So as a contractor, how do they achieve or receive judicial authority? They don't. Just the same thing applies to these employees of these corporations that have a military, a militia on standby to ensure that their corporate policies and procedures are enforced. Their corporate policies and procedures are based on statutes. Statutes is not law, and we got to know this. All right? Why is it that statutes are not law? The answer can be found in the American Constitution, because the only area of government that is sanctioned to write law is the Congress of the United States, not the Union States, not the contractors that the Union States have hired. The Union States only have authority to execute the laws that are written by the Congress of the United States.
And they chartered.
Well, the corporations are chartered, but and let me just put people at ease, because a charter in today's language is simply a business plan. So it's not a frightening word. People, we hear things and we don't, and this is why the prophet said, study, study, study. Now, part of, a lot, the one of the major components of study, which is like, I'm going to say 90 to 80% of study, is contemplation. Simply sitting and thinking about what you have just read and or studied. Because as you sit and you think about it, it's going to connect dots in your mind, and you're going to get several aha moments. But that's never going to happen if you don't first study and then take the time to think about what you just studied. And trust me when I say that contemplation, it ain't going to be an hour. It may not even be a day or a week or a month. It could result in a couple of years, because you need to get a full comprehension of the information. And so when you read like the prophecies and the statements, and you read these one-liners that the prophet has put forth, if we was to really and truly want to really and truly make some impact on self, we would take one prophecy and turn it over in our head for the entire year. You will be amazed at what connections you make. It's not a quick, fast, in a hurry process. That's why he said study, study, study 3 times, because you ain't going to be able to just pick up a book, open it, read it, or watch a DVD. Okay, now I got it. I can go out and do some stuff. No, all of what the prophet brought, it ain't for you to go out onto. When he said go out onto the hedges and the highways, and people really take that literal. They really do. They take it literal. The prophet never gave us anything from a low energy perspective. Everything he gave to us was from a high place, because when we look at the amazing things that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was able to do, the only reason he was able to do that was because he was coming from a high energy place. So when we hear go out on the hedges and the highway, what is he really saying? Is he saying go out onto the street and harass people because you got the light and now you feel like you got to go give the light to everybody you encounter? Because that to me sounds low energy. What it sounds, if I think of the enormity and the magnitude and the awesomeness of Prophet Noble Jew Ali, what I think he's really saying, as he had, I mean, if we take it in the proper context, he said, look, I brought you enough to save a nation. Now sit your behind down and save yourself. How are you going to do that? Study, study, study. Now, once you study, 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 you're going to change your energy vibration. And so once you go out on the hedges and the highway, your energy is going to touch people and you will not say one word. That is the power and the energy of what the prophet brought us. But it ain't for other people. It's for you. And that's the same thing they said in the movie The Matrix. He said, look, what you received from the oracle was for you. But many times we receive these nuggets, and we want to go and run and tell everybody instead of sitting down and really absorbing it for you. If other people may have a different message, that message that you received is for you. Study it, embrace it, and you know, let it become a part of you so that your energy can rise. So when you do go out on the hedges and the highway, your energy is speaking, not your lips flapping in the wind. Islam.
Islam, I like that. You said the most powerful thing because it starts within you. You got yours now. Now you can get it. By you sharing what you sharing with the family, that's how everybody has to go about grasping everything and studying. That's why you always stress study, study, study. And I love that you say that. You're a wonderful speaker and a great teacher.
Islam, thank you.
We're
all teachers.
No doubt.
Because no matter what, you know what's amazing, and I realize this, you know, the oldest sibling always feels this, always. They are the example for everybody to follow, but they hate being the example for everybody to follow. But that is your destiny, to be the oldest for everybody to follow.
You better believe I'm doing my part for fallen humanity. I'm doing my part. As much as I can do, I'm going to do all I can do. You know?
Well, you know that statement, what you just said, and it reminds me of the statement that says, when the student is ready, the teacher shall appear. Yeah, and that just simply means that you're the student, and when you're ready, you become the teacher.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And I gotta say this. I gotta say this because that is so powerful. You know, a lot of us, we got a lot of books, or we may get a lot of books, and we're reading, we're searching, we're looking, we're trying to find the answer. We got so many questions inside of us, and we want the answer to all of them. And sometimes it feels like you're never going to have all the answers to all the questions you have, not to mention the additional questions that's going to come. But one thing I can tell you, you may never believe me until you experience it. But I can tell you this, just, you know, when you study, just keep on studying, don't ever stop. Keep on studying and be intensive with your studying, because there will come a time when the Spirit will say to you, stop reading. And it is at that point where everything that you read, studied, now the universe is going to send you a situation after situation after situation, so that what you read, you can absorb. Apply. And right. And so I'm telling you, you know, that Matrix movie, it is so amazing because they just gave so many nuggets, you know, and we Moors, we so need to get this. We so need to get this. The prophet said, I gave you enough to save a nation, now save yourself. The Matrix said the same thing when it said, this was for you. It was for you. It wasn't for the person to your left or the right or behind you or in front of you. It wasn't for the person that you're going to encounter tomorrow or the next day or the next week or the next year. It was for you. So now you need to take what is for you and, you know, internalize it and make it become a part of you. That's the message. That's the lesson. You know, the prophet, you know, he wasn't here. I mean, really, when you think about him and what he did, he really wasn't coming to preach or tell the people. He was really just being himself, which is exactly what he said. Right? Which is exactly what he said he came to help us to do. He was just being himself. He was just doing what he was called to do. The message that he received, it was for him. It wasn't for CMBey or anybody else, because CMBey got his own message. He was an amazing person as well. But you got Prophet Noble Drew and you got CMBey, two amazing people. Both of them got messages, but none of their messages was for each other. It was for them to share. And they followed that destiny. We need to do the same thing.
Yes, indeed.
Islam, well said.
Islam. I yield the floor. Let somebody else have it. You have a wonderful night. All right?
All right.
You know it.
All right, people. Thank you so much for your call.
You already
Well,
know.
you know, it's funny. It's like our intro music is the theme of tonight's broadcast. There's a natural mystic flowing in the air.
That was Bob Marley. He knew that many years ago.
Yes,
because
yes.
that's really what prophets are. You know what prophetic means and what prophecy and prophesy is. A prophet, such as Prophet Noble Drew, is one who knows of the coming events and warns others. That's it. So we've been all warned by these people as to, you know, what's going on right now in time.
Yes, yes. And you know what? I'm speaking from my revelations and my experiences. You know, not necessarily to tell people, but more to share, because we can all. You know, this one of the wonderful things about this particular broadcast. You know, especially when we have our Freestyle Tuesdays, is we can get together and we can share. And, you know, one of the things that I realized as we all grow is we can share these amazing experiences that we're having. And I would say to people, don't look at the experiences that you're having as good or bad, right or wrong. Just look at them as the right experience for the right time, for the right being, which would be you. And know that, you know, it's not about somebody's trying to make your life difficult. These modern Europeans, look, one of the things that I know, nothing in this universe is by accident. Everything was by design. Before we came here, everybody agreed to play their role so that the experiences can be learned. that means that if you encountered a modern European and he was a bit on the obnoxious side, he agreed to come in and be that way, not just for his growth, but for the growth of the person who was on the receiving end.
Yeah.
So nothing is by accident. So, I think this is why the prophet said we need to learn to love instead of hate, because nobody is here by accident. Nothing that we are experiencing is an accident. Rod always likes to say, divine law governs all events. So if we know this to be true, then how is it that the things that happen to us can be an accident? It's not. It's something that we signed up to experience for our soul development. And so sometimes we get, and I know I am guilty of this myself. We get, it feels like we're dropped into a situation. You don't really feel like you want to deal with it. Initially the result, the feeling is always the same. I don't feel like doing this. I don't want to have to go through this. But we agreed to go through it. And if we are going through it, it must mean that we have made enough headway with our own self-growth to be able to deal with it. I mean, because we're not going to give ourselves something that we can't handle. So it's not that something or someone is visiting us with these horrendous issues. We put it together ourselves, and so we need to embrace it as a wonderful experience and not a bad or evil experience, regardless of who it may be, or whether they are Asiatic or modern European. It's our experience. We chose to experience it. So, embrace it and just, try to gleefully look for the lesson. Not, oh, woe is me, I don't want to go through this. Not that type of energy. The energy needs to be, wow, this is a new experience. I never experienced it before. That's most of the fear. What can I learn from it? And maybe with that type of attitude, that alone can resolve it. I mean, who knows? It would be interesting to try it. And I'm just saying.
Well, it doesn't matter whether you try it or not try it. It's happening anyway. You're either going to take the lesson and learn it or not, and we all have to do that. And one of the things that what happens, as an example, when something happens that you think is, raw or wrong or bad, quote unquote bad, just look into it, learn the lesson from it, and that's why it happened to you, so that you could learn a lesson and make another standard in your thinking and doing whatever that you will move forward with. Because without learning that lesson, at some point you will have to have learned it. So that's why these things happen, so that you can do that. Now, if you decide that you're going to be, you say, woe is me, like that, you will never learn the lesson, and it'll come back around again.
Islam. And I have to definitely add on and agree that I think that's probably the biggest thing why people don't go through certain challenges, because they get stuck in the fact that there is one, and therefore, they stay there, like you said, in the woe is me attitude, opposed to, all right, how do we get over this? You know what I mean? Where's the resolve? Where's the remedy? What can I do to move forward? And without that type of, remedy and progressive oriented state of mind, people get stuck in the situation and never get out. I think that's a big aspect of growth and progress. And then because time moves, you got to go through things. But, you know, if you're not going to take the lesson from it, then, you know, you'll usually just get stuck right there. There's some people that are still stuck because they won't grow from anything. They're still looking for handouts. They're still looking for the European to be the salvation, and why am we getting treated this way and this, that, and the third. When we have to realize, look, we have a lot of prophecies and a lot of reasons to autonomously move forward, and just starting with yourself, you know what I mean, to keep that integrity and move on, opposed to getting stuck on one stage. I think it's a very imperative lesson for growth. Islam, yes.
Yes. So let's see. We have another caller. Caller 267-353. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwestern Mexico.
Islam, family. As I seen Bay.
Islam,
brother.
There he is.
Islam, Brother Miz, Mother Annie Eden, Mother Raz, and Brother Cujo. I just want to chime in on more on the divine side. I want to say this here before I go on. Put this out there in the air. All of us will be forced to make changes. And then I want to say this here. I was just thinking about a thought and thinking about the cycle of time, the 7-day cycle, and that we have to go through this cycle. And in this cycle, when we going through these things, it have an effect on us. So I asked, when was the prophet born? He was born in one century, he transformed into another century, and it would be 100 years before what he was taught to really take hold and go into effect. All right, and he had to do what he did because nobody else did it. All right, so and I say that to say, and this is sort of like, I don't want to be preaching or inspirational type of thing, but to that effect, for a lot of people that's 15, 16 years old, people was born in one century, in one cycle of time, and they transformed into another cycle of time, and that cycle had some type of effect on them personally, their family, and on the larger community when we're talking about the history of humanity or mankind. That's a special group of people that was born in one century and lived and transformed in another century, because I would think the majority of the people are born in a century and they die in a century, and they don't transform those. So it's a small group of people. It's a smaller group of people that's born in one era of time and transform into another, the Piscean era, and then transform into the Aquarian era of time. And these cycles of time have an effect on human history when we're talking about the will of humanity. And we've been blessed to be born at that time, because that's even the smallest group of people. Because a lot of people are going to be born in an era and transform in an era and not split the eras. And there's even a smaller group that's born in one century, transform into another century, at the same time born in one era and transform into another era. A smaller group of people in humanity that does that. And then to be born a woman at that time is even a greater thing, because it's things that you will be forced to do. Want to do it or not, you're going to be forced to do it. Once we start understanding these cycles of time and this cycle that we're in right now, we have to understand that we're special and we was brought into humanity at a particular time. That agreement was made with our mothers, and that divine spirit made that agreement so that the mothers can create us and form us and bring us into the flesh so that we can do our jobs, do what we came in the flesh to do. And it's being done for humanity. Like you said, the prophet, he answered his own call. And in answering that call, It's just like you say, when you love yourself, by default, you will love other people. By default, when the prophet did his job, by default, he's uplifting all of humanity. And when each of us do our job, what we were born here to do by default, as Moors, cradle of civilization, we will uplift humanity for all humanity. By default, we will do it, just being who we are.
Yes.
So
and that's important. I just wanted to say when he said, and being a woman, bringing in the souls, that's what the Ark of the Covenant truly is. I know they said it might be, but the Ark of the Covenant truly is the Ark created. I know you said it 1,000 times. In the womb of the woman, when she's pregnant, every sister has a perfect ark. That's what that is when you're pregnant. It's a perfect ark, mathematically, geometrically, etc. And the ark of the covenant, or the covenant, means agreement. And the agreement is that you will bring the souls in. So you're absolutely right on it, Islam.
Yes, yes. And you know what? And just to interject, and I know many of us probably have watched that Indiana Jones episode. And when you know that the Ark is the woman, actually the body of the woman when she is pregnant, you see where. A lot of you see where either it was an intentional mislead or it was simply lack of knowledge. It doesn't matter which one it was, because that's a very key piece of information that we need so that we can better evaluate the information on a whole. Islam?
Yes. Oh, and one last thing. When we say that that's the Ark of the Covenant, and the covenant is the agreement to bring the souls in, now you might better understand that song when they say, I want to be in the number when those saints come marching in. Yes.
Islam. And to further that thought of putting a call out to everyone to be themselves. Like you said, the prophet just merely been himself. Bey just was himself. Once you understand it, be that. Stand on that. And you'll start seeing the change, because this thing of consciousness, and we all keep hearing that word, and we don't want to take it as cliche. All right? That thing of consciousness and that thing of study, which connects you to that consciousness, the more you study, you leave that phase, and that mental phase, and that a phase that you caught up of believing and start to knowing. All right. When you start to know, it's just a whole nother ball game. It's just a whole nother playing field. To know that you are attached to your foremother and your forefathers, to know that you are them, to know that you have this protection when you step out your door. I heard the brother say when you step out your door, when you wake up in the morning, when you open your mouth, when you interact with other people, right or wrong, to know that you live within that covenant, all right, because without you, the universe will be in balance. It will wobble. So we keep that balance. And when you connect back to your foremothers and forefathers, I just want to say, in ending, you must know what you have done. That's where you are the holder in due course. That's when you are when people running around talking about that trust. When you deal with that spiritual, divine trust in that. Trust in that when you be who you are and when you collect yourself back to your forefathers and foremothers. Trust in that what they did for us, it is done. That we in that protection of the reason why people are getting trust. Live in that trust and trust the trust. Trust in your divine source. Trust in your forefathers and foremothers. Islam?
Islam. For sure.
Islam.
Absolutely.
That's the true trust. That's the true trust.
Yeah.
What the Prophet Noble said. He said we put our trust in the deeds and the actions of our foremothers and forefathers. He just said it.
That's right. And this here flesh,
and you know what?
Go ahead.
I just want to say this because people miss it. It's really simple, but people miss it a lot. The reason he is saying trust in your ancestors, trust in your ancestors, is because you are the ancestors' return. It is a complete circle. Yes. It is a completion. It is a circle. It is divine. This is a divine and national movement. That's why when you can't just take these things that the prophet has said from a shallow place. You've got to rise. Look, I don't know about other people, but when I read the prophet's work, I saw the absolute amazement and simplicity of what he did. And here we are 100 years later, and people are making things so complicated. Why? Why is it so complicated? Why are you making it so? Why is it that you don't get that he's saying trust in your ancestor, which essentially means trust in yourself? Why are you taking that and thinking Prophet Noble Drew, he said to create a trust? What is that? What is that but paper? This paper that is going to disintegrate and mean nothing when if you was to really contemplate what he said and trust in your ancestors, it's going to bring you back to yourself today, which is awesome and amazing. Islam?
Islam.
And one more thing I want to put in the air because a lot of this is happening right now. That people are transforming it at this period of time. In my family, friends of the family, other friends or associates that I meet, they're going through the same thing of a lot of these deaths or transformation. But at the same time, I had this past year, not even a year yet, a grandson and a granddaughter, and another grand on the way in another month. And but this is the natural, and if you can elaborate on this here and build on this here, Ms. and even Rise, this is the natural order of things. This is the natural cycle of life. They were talking about it's such bad luck that we have and that they're transforming, and then the children are being born. And I was thinking to myself, listen, and I even spoke with one sister and said, listen, we might got that a little twisted. You know, they transforming and they sad, and then you have these new births coming and they happy, you know, and these new births has to go through these trials and tribulations, and the ones that's transforming, hopefully a lot of them got it so that it didn't have to return again. But that's the natural order of things. So maybe if you want to build on that and share with the family so that they can have some comfort in understanding it.
I definitely want to talk about that. You know, because I had a situation like I think all the way through. Let's see, where are we? July, the latter part of all the way through actually 2015. Just had elder after elder after elder after elder after elder in my family transition And it's like every time one of them transitioned, I felt extremely sad. But immediately following that, the realization came to me that all of the elders are passing form, which means there's a level that is passing away, and we here now, many of us talking on this phone, on this broadcast, listening, we're the next line. We are the next line, and you know, even up until like maybe 2-3 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago, I realized that when we look back at our elders and our families that have seem to be all transitioning all at the same time, these people came in and they agreed to be a holder of the energy. And they're now passing that baton to us. All right. Now I had a granddaughter, and I mean, we only had her for 6 months, but it was 6 months of amazement. And what I got was that energy brought a spike in the energy, and so and the spike in the energy was just so that, and they agreed to do this. This is not an accident. Nothing is an accident. They agreed to come here and do that, to bring the energy, either to hold it or to bring a spike in the energy so that we get the jolt or the maintenance of energy that we need to go to the next level. So when I got that, even though I was sad to see them go, I understood, or I comprehended. And then I just so happened to be reading something. I don't remember. I think it was in the circle, the Holy Quran, where it talked about when we try to hold people here, or we're very saddened by their transitioning. You know, it's selfish, because they came, they did what they were supposed to do. And we're not supposed to hold on to that energy, which prevents them from moving on, by the way. We're supposed to be appreciative and honored with whatever they brought, and it ain't about it, and it's not about what they brought being good or bad. It's about they did what they were supposed to do, and they then, when it was completed, they transitioned. And so, I just see a lot of what we're going through. We seem to constantly be looking at it as such a negative, a downing thing, when really we're in such an amazing place and time.
Yeah.
Even though there is no time, this is an amazing place. This is the things that are happening. It is so amazing. And all of it, really, it ain't happening because of some physical strength and exertion of physical energy. It's happening because of the changing of the minds of the people. And really, you know what? If we was to really understand, I mean, chapter 1 is like the beginning and the end and the wrap-up of everything. Man is mind. That's it. There's nothing else.
That's right.
So if we could just turn that over in our head, a lot of our lives would change, like instantaneously, because everything that we are experiencing, we're experiencing because we first manifested it in the mind. That's what chapter 1 says, and chapter 1 is not a lie. It's an absolute principle. So we don't embrace that principle and know that it is right and exact, we will have encounters of light in our lives that are of our own making, but we will think somebody sent it to us as though they have that kind of power, and they don't. We created that. We created that first in our mind, and now here it is knocking on our door in the flesh, in the physical realm. And not to be fearful of it, but just to understand, okay, I made a wrong turn, and this is what showed up. Let me go back and correct it and erase that and create what I really want. And it's just that simple. And that's what the prophet showed us. If we was to really read the prophecies and the statements, that's what he brought us. And that's the example he was bringing to us. And that's what we need to really diligently manifest in our own lives. Islam,
and I think that you're manifesting it. Excuse me, go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro. I didn't mean to cut your wisdom.
I think that you're manifesting it. Mother Annie Eve, Mother Rise, Noble Miz, Noble Cujo, you are manifesting it. I would say that what you're doing and what we all should be doing in another 100 years from now, all right, and that's a small period of time, people won't be saying, this is what Mother Annie Eve did. This is what Mother Rise did. This is what Noble Miz did. This is what Tyreek, what Taj has done. This is what they've done. This is what so-and-so done. This is what this Moor has done. This is what this Moor has done. This is what that Moor has done. This is what's going to happen, and this is happening now. We are waking up. I see it all the time. I'm getting phone calls all the time. People are waking up, and you guys are playing a big part in it. You helped to wake me up. You helped to wake me up. So I know for a fact, I'm not talking from nothing somebody told me, something even I read. I'm talking from what I know. You helped to wake me up, you guys. Islam, and I'm going to say one more thing about love. And then I'm going to yield the floor because I always tell my love story. And the brother had a good one. But it was a period, a time that I went through, in the phase of time that I went through when I was discovering myself and getting to know myself after so many years of doing things for other people. And I sat and I started thinking, how many times since I've been living and walking the face of the earth have I ever said to myself that I love you, Asim? How many times have I looked in the mirror and looked at that reflection and looked in the eyes of that person and said, I love you? I couldn't, at that point in time, I couldn't count on my single hands how many times I told myself I love you. And what we always talk about is jurisdiction, and we talk about right words. I would tell everybody else. I would tell my children, I would tell my wife, I would tell my mother, I would tell everybody external out. I would meet some people, have conversation with them, and spend some time with them, maybe all day and stuff, and we share back and forth, and then I would leave and I'd say, look, man, I love you. Never once in all those years I ever said to myself, I love you. I never, ever used those right words to put that spell on me. Reflecting this here spell out on everybody else and never on myself. And I thought about that. And so I started waking up in the morning telling myself, I love you. I sing I love you. I start getting in the mirror, looking myself, looking at that reflection in the mirror, saying I love you. I start realizing that love was an action. I got my chart, my will, and I start reading and I start understanding my will, and I start seeing the conjunctions in my will and stuff, and I start saying, dang, man, I don't like that. Those things is a problem. Those things is ugly. Those reasons why I've been short in life. Looking at those things. And then I realized love and justice. That is a double-edged sword. Because love can be harsh. And then love can be this wonderful thing. Justice and seeking remedy. Justice can be harsh, but then justice can cut your head off. And I started saying I love you. And like the brother said, he hugged himself, he looked himself, and then you, Rise, was talking about that reflection. My life changed at that point. And my life has continually changed. Continually. And now, I don't care if I was dropped in a plane and dropped off in Russia or in China or anywhere. Because of love, I can communicate with any human in the world. I know it. Wow. So I just want to leave that. That's my love story. And I'm going to leave that and yield the floor. I love you guys once again, and I love myself too. Islam. Peace and love.
Islam. Yeah, we love you too. Man, that was definitely good stuff. Yeah. But I see it is definitely true. You started off at the beginning of the show, Anae, mentioning about reflection. You know, man's business is definitely about reflection. Then the brother and my mother added on, and then Nassim added on. That's serious. You know, I recall certain times looking in the mirror in my eyes so hard until, like, it just looked like there's 1,000 mirrors there. Like, you know how if you got a mirror behind you and you look in the other mirror in front of you, it look like it's a bunch of mirrors. It's reflection to that type of point. But then you start to love yourself and get into what the Brethren was saying about, you know, actually realizing you're a part of a bigger circle of life and that we are our ancestors' return. And as we reflect on ourselves, we see that, you know, we come from really great history, like great people, great beings. Not to say evil didn't exist, but it's so much to love about ourselves, about our, you know, how we descended, how we, you know, our ascendant line, so much. And I just wanted to add on too, you know, when you start with self, you know, or you look at your existence starting from your first ascendant directly up, and you realize no matter how far you go back, the further you go back, the more you see that we're all related. It's a beauty in that too. And the ancestors that are here, if there was like anybody, you know, that happens to have been born in the 30s, if they still kicking or, you know, just living or whatever, a lot of them, you know, who came from the South, they'll tell you there's so many different things to get familiar with the earth that the elders know, but they're passing away in passing that information down is serious because, you know, you could use the earth for a lot of things. Like one of the main things that stuck out to me is a story that my grandfather was telling me about how he had Aboriginals that he recalled seeing in his family when he was young, and they used to use the earth to store food. So it's a lot that we can learn in reflection and in acceptance of ourselves and moving forward in love and recognizing, you know, everybody is not to, you know, somebody's judgment standard of what you call perfect, but everybody has a lesson to contribute that we could all learn from and move forward with. So I just wanted to add that on to the conversation, Islam. And then you have the floor. Sure.
Islam. All right. Well, let's take our next caller. Caller 313-350. You are live on the air. Please state your appellation and Northwest Maxim.
Islam. This is Batal Bey, and I am calling from Northwest of Maxim, and close to the Detroit Corporation.
Family.
All right.
How's everybody doing?
Hi.
All is well.
I am so excited to be on. I didn't even think that I was going to get in. I know a lot of callers have said that in times past, but wow. It's such a great honor to actually communicate with you all. I'm so thankful. I'm going to be brief for what I'm saying, but as the night has been progressing, talking about these love stories, I just want to mention a couple amazing things that just transpired. And I just got up and I'm about to start circling, walking around my house, and I do that when I'm excited. I just take my shoes off, and I still got my suit on from working today, but I'm about to start circling, walking around my house, and I can't wait to tell my family. I talked to you all, but I'm gonna continue with this love story. I started my journey with embracing this knowledge. I was searching, and as Mother Roz said earlier, when the student is ready, the teachers will appear. And in our area, I feel like there's really no active. It's not really that many active family, any active Moors around. You know, I visited a temple, and it just felt so much like a traditional Christian church, which is part of my upbringing. I couldn't bring myself to even bring my family to anything close to that. You know, trying to pull them away from that and try to give them the truth about their illustrious history and things of that nature, and the things that I've been reading and studying as a result of finding you all. But okay, out that aside and out of the way, getting to this love story. One day I was searching on the web, and I'm on my Instagram, and I see a brother that posted his national allodial identification card, and I'm like, oh my gosh. This is some of the things that I've been hitting towards and just studying, and like it hit me. I had never seen one, and all the information that I was like leaning towards trying to find out truth about was all printed on his allodial ID, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I sent him a message. And he called me. I said, hey, you know what? You just posted your ID, and it's really speaking to me. Do you mind talking with me? He called me, and he said, give me 10 minutes. He called me, and he said, I want you to get a paper and a pen, and you write this information down. He says, I want you to do a couple things. He says, get you a dictionary, unabridged, and he said, you get you the 4th edition, Henry Kimball's Black, if you can find it. And he says, I also want you to watch this video. And it was Taj on a video speaking. And man, it was like a 2-hour video. And I was so excited. I wrote down, it was a number of books he gave me too. He said, now after you read, 100 amazing facts about the Negro, and you get these dictionaries and you watch this video, and you start searching, and when you're ready, you call me back. And boy, I went to town. I mean, I grabbed everything that he had on that list, and I just kept reading and reading and reading. I was watching videos, and it sent me to other links, Taj, and to you, and I found out about RVBey. And boy, when I called him back, I was so on fire. I said, man, this is what I've been looking for my whole life. I've always felt in my heart that what I've been taught, I kept asking the question why, and people would shut me down, and they would be like, you got to just go with what, and I'm like, no, it's not right. It's just something in me that just kept telling me to keep searching. And so this brother just opened up a wealth of knowledge to me and just exposed our history to me, and I wish I could talk to him more. He works a lot and things of that nature, but he really opened up the door. And this is maybe a little under a year ago, and I've just been studying everything ever since. And I listen to the broadcast every week, and it just really changed my life. It changed, obviously, it changed my life, but I'm so overjoyed. I'm almost talking faster than what I normally would talk, because I'm so overjoyed just to be able to express how important this was to me, to be able to connect with the family and connect back to our history and all of those missing pieces in my heart and in my mind, to be able to really to have that gap, that hole filled. You know, I don't know how to express it, but it was one of the greatest things, you know, and that happened to me, you know, in my life. And I've just been on this path and this journey and just learning. He read to me the address that Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave to the people. And I couldn't believe the words. They were so eloquently put, and it was so overwhelming, his charge for us. And I was just completely blown away. And I'm just sharing this because I'm a songwriter, and I produce music, and I record people for a living. And his words were it just overwhelmed me. And I just felt the love, and I felt the connection, and I felt that gap. And it just really sent me on a journey. And maybe I unbalanced myself with, you know, so much study, and I just kind of dropped the ball in other areas. But I feel like I finally found what I've been searching for all my life. And I'm like, I want to get all of it right now. And I can't, you know, because I got to, you know, I have a family, and I have to, you know, provide, and, you know, you have to share that time and balance. But I just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate you all. I love you all so much. And you are, even though we've never met, I'm going to have to take a trip to come close to you all one day so we can physically see each other. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the information and making it easy for, you know, for us that were lost, that could have a way to come back into the family. And just thank you so much. I don't know how much more to say. I have a lot more to say, but I'm just going to say thank you and yield the floor.
Wow, that was beautiful. That was beautiful, brother. Thank you. Wow.
Islam.
Yeah.
And thank you for tuning in and listening.
Yeah. I'm going to be sending in soon my judicial proclamation documents and declaration, and I'm, you know, sending in my size for my headdress, my fez, and I'm definitely going to be sending in my information for my identification soon. I just I remember one broadcast. I believe it was you, Mother Roz, that said that, you know what, you just keep studying it, and even if you do obtain the information, you don't have to rush into doing this. You got to know for sure in yourself, and, you know, you start off with that, you know, within your mind. Obviously, that's in our studies, but man, I'm at that place where I'm confident, where I feel like I can stand on that square that Miz talks about every weekend. And
that's great. That's great.
I'm so overwhelmed.
You know,
I'm like, I got tears in my eyes.
Oh, wow. But listen, whatever you learn, you will be able to pass on to your friends and your family also. As you said, you have a family. And as far as the identification card and everything, it's already been said that it will change in your pocket. Because as you are learning more, like, because you had mentioned the card and all the things you saw on it, as you are learning more, you will understand and understand what it all really means. Because a lot of people, you know, identification is identification, so they think, well, you know, it's a brief that expresses your position regarding the matter. So therefore, everything that's on it, once you really get that, that's how it changes in the pocket. But everything you said was wonderful, and we really appreciate that. Really, really do. So just keep doing what you, and don't worry about that there's nobody so much in your area, because there's also, Prophet Noble Drew Ali also said, if you're the only one, be the only one, all right?
You're absolutely right. Well, thank goodness. This is another just love thing. Cujo reached out to me You don't understand. You all are like our superheroes.
Oh.
No, seriously. Like when Cujo reached, I sent him a message on Facebook, and I sent him my number. He called me. This was last week, and then he connected me with one brother that is close to my area, and we've been talking all week. We talked today, matter of fact, and I just felt, I'm like, wow, it's more to it than just seeing the videos and reading about it. I can actually tangibly touch another brother that's conscious. We all are Moors, but conscious and understands who he is that I can build with. I'm overwhelmed right now.
All right.
But thank you all. Thank you all so much. And you hopefully hear from me, but really soon and see some things passing through. But I'm finally at that place where I'm confident, and my family is learning, and my two younger ones, and my wife, they're understanding that, the information, and it's a slow walk a lot of times for some of us that, it wasn't up on us to just grab the information and somebody's trying to bring you into the information. It's different when, a person that's leading the charge. But I just thank you all so much. I'm a year to the floor.
Thanks to you, Feb, for tuning in and getting your family all enlightened as well. That's a beautiful thing. So, yeah, for sure.
All right, Islam family.
No.
All right, thank you so much for that. We're going to take our next caller, but I want to just make sure everyone knows that this is another Freestyle Tuesday just for you. So if you have a question, comment, concern, statement, whatever, just press 1 on your telephone dial, and we will take your call. All right? So our next caller is caller 910220. You are live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest America.
Islam family, Islam. This is Nationality. I'm calling from yes, ma'am. Calling from the tribal territory of Bayford, located in the territory of North Carolina.
All right.
Yes. I was just calling. I was just calling and listening to the calls. I learned a lot. I just learned that the Honorable Noble Drew Ali said, "If you're the only one, be the only one." That says a lot to me in volume of numbers, and it kind of threw me off what I wanted to talk about. But it said a lot to me because to me it's saying, hey, if you're the only one, I mean, you're trying to talk to people, let them know who they are. But if they don't want to know who they are, then just be the only one. Still do what you do, but, just recognize the fact that you can't force this on nobody. They have to understand for themselves. So I was like, wow, that said numbers. That said a lot to me. But I was calling on the issue of starting business in your new name. Hello?
Business in your new name. New appellation.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Oh, Jesus. I think we lost. No, we didn't lose.
We got him here, though. You did. But he's here. All right. He did. He dropped, but, he's here. That's interesting. That means that once you recognize that you are the I'll use authorized person or representative of anything else that you do, then you would go forward in your free new appellation. There's nothing to hide from because it's X-rail on the old stuff. Bring in.
Okay.
Right. So now, if you're asking, how do I start a new business? It used to be where you went to a county corporation that is not government, and you received the license and permission. That's over. You don't do that. They
Yeah,
can't
that's what I'm trying to understand. That's what I'm
All
trying
right.
Yeah.
Well, what that means is we're the original merchants on the planet, so be that. If you got something to sell, you got merchandise or whatever resources from the earth, however you acquired, then just be who you do your thing, and have some integrity with it.
Okay, well, see, this is what I do. I was the one to call last week, and talk. But this is what I do. I'm into the club business. Like I'm into purchasing. I'm actually right now, in the process of looking and trying to purchase a building for a club.
What kind of club?
And like a nightclub.
Well, how about a day club that goes into the night? How about a 24-hour club? No, I'm just saying. Well, you mean like a nightclub?
I respect that. But I mean.
Well, you mean where you can have entertainment, arts, and things like that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And also night dancing and club. I understand. Well, okay, all right. So do that.
Okay. And then we're dealing with that. I will be selling alcohol, and I'm just trying to get clear on.
I don't know what to say about that, and I'm gonna tell you why. Even the prophet said, if you drink or whatever, do it at home. So that's all I can say. I'm not telling you.
Oh no, I don't drink. I'm just saying it's like it's a club where people come and dance, listen to music, and buy drinks, and speak easy or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Speak. All right, then I guess you need to be speaking easy then. Speaking easy means that nobody know about it, but those who are do come. You see, that's what speak easy means.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I can say about that one.
So basically, if that's what I'm going to do, basically, I started in my new name. But as far as the part of the alcohol, would I go through their government for it? That's what I'm trying to say. When it comes to the sale, or am I out of pocket for wanting to have a club that sells alcohol anyway?
For sure.
Let me say this. Let me just say this. A nightclub. When you use the word nightclub, it has a sort of negative connotation only because most nightclubs are designed to take people out of their reasoning mind. All right?
Uh-huh.
How about this for a novel idea? There's so many Moors, conscious as well as unconscious, around the world, probably right in your area, who have amazing abilities in terms of music.
Uh-huh.
And it would be, we need to start putting together things that are uplifting. We don't have, really, we don't have a venue where Moor can contribute and provide uplifting music. We don't have that type of a venue. It would be a good thing if you could provide that type of a venue, and instead of providing alcohol, how about providing a juice bar?
Yeah,
it's a novel idea. It will take you outside of what the norm is, but it puts you in a positive place. Where is it written that the only way you can have a good time is if you're intoxicated? Where is that written?
Yeah.
I remember, and we need to take a page from some of our past amazing entertainers, such as Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like, when they came out, going really against the grain, and they started with the college community. And from there, they became this force that is today referred to as the elements known as earth, wind, and fire. So you are in a place, being a conscious Moor, to put something different in motion.
Okay.
Islam.
I mean.
How about calling it the Center of Arts and Entertainment? Now, that's positive, all right? That doesn't mean you can't serve wine there. There's nothing wrong with it. We're just saying, you know what I'm saying? And we're not saying don't drink. We're not saying don't drink. We're saying, like, all right, the Center of Arts and Entertainment. All right,
well,
and
this
then
is freestyle. Huh? I feel you. That's why I called. That's why I'm calling.
All right.
It's been eating at me, and I'm like, because that's what I've been into, like the club business, nightclub business, security, things of that nature for the last 10, 15 years, and that's how I've been paying my bills through doing this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm familiar with the crowd, and I don't know. I mean, what else to call it but a nightclub? You know what I'm saying?
Well, you can just, like I said, arts and entertainment. That means it's entertainment, whatever it may be, whether it's live, band, dancing, and again.
That makes a lot of sense, because now the same building that I would use maybe 2 nights out the week could be used,
more
every day.
than that. You're right. You're not limiting it. But, all right, now I know Miz has a comment that he wants to make with that.
No, I think everything was said perfect. Like, everything was said perfect. As long as you got the right to self-determination with your appellation, move on that. Y'all have, that's all I really had to say.
Islam. And my brother, I can't recall your name, but I know your voice from watching the video.
My left field,
you the one with RVBey on the mock court. It's on YouTube.
Well, it's a bunch of stuff on YouTube. I've sat in many classes with Taj. I've sat in many classes with Raz, my mother, Anna E.
Yeah.
So I don't know what. I know
the one I'm talking about. You was playing the district attorney.
I don't recall that class at all, brother. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I really don't, because it would probably have been a while ago, but no.
Yeah, it probably would. I'm just saying I recognize your voice. I recognize your voice.
Okay, well,
but that's peace. But like I say, I was just calling because it's kind of been eating at me, and I'm in the position now where, my mind is clear to think, business. Think business. This is how I'm gonna be able to fund and do the things that I want to do, because I have other plans for community things, community buildings and stuff. Because right where I'm at, we don't have that. So, I'm providing back to the community and being in a place where, I have some type of program or something set up to where I can help, or me and the organization can help, the less fortunate, the people that may need, So that's what I'm trying to figure out the ways to go about the business and the way to be about the business. Because, like I said, with the nightclub, I'm conflicted with it, because I'm like, dog, I can't. How I'm gonna do this but it still represent this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you probably got some more meditating to do about what you're gonna do.
Yeah. But I was just calling to get a different view, or a different view of what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty sure somebody or someone that's has been in the same position I've been in now. So they can like just show me, well, like you got this responsibility right here. So or whatever, or show me just a different mindset of looking at the situation. At the end, it'd be up to me, but just trying to do another perception of what could possibly be given, which would be more morally right and put more good vibes in the atmosphere than bad vibes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I never want to away. I always want to give. I don't want to subtract. I want to give.
For sure.
There's a lot of people out there looking for a place where they can listen to uplifting, because, uplifting music, because, it wasn't long ago. Like, it doesn't matter if it's reggae or rap or R&B or hip-hop. They all had a positive, uplifting, like transformative message. And people are still looking for that. They may not realize that they're looking for that, but that is exactly what they are looking for. Look, our intro music is Bob Marley. It's Bob Marley for a reason, because he was singing, he was giving a message. He's not the only reggae artist that was given a message. When you look at, like, rap, people listen to rap today, they have no idea that the beginnings of rap gave a very positive and uplifting message, not the crap that they're pushing today. R&B, rhythm, and blues gave a very positive message. And so, we need to merge the past positive message, present and future positive message, because the message is the same. And we need to create a venue where we have artists who are looking to put forth that positive message. There's few places across the nation where an artist who wants to stay true to their craft have a venue to put forth positive music, positive energy that people are craving. And like when you couple something like, a juice bar with that, where across the nation are you finding that? You could be a trendsetter, because really, granted, you got these modern Europeans that's trying to corrupt the people and keep them in their lower self. Many people are here to live and operate in their higher self and beyond. So they need a place where they can go and, sort of like chill out, but still have that energy of higher transformation, as opposed to pulling you down into your lower self. So I think it's a great idea, and you could absolutely become a trendsetter. Trust and believe, because the people are craving something like that. So you can be the first to put something like that out there. I would come.
But like real talk, it makes a lot of sense, because what I'm seeing while you're saying this, I'm seeing images in my mind, and I'm saying, like, okay, yeah, like a nice little chill out spot where you come in, it might be a live band, might be poetry, like, there's no telling what's going on. And it's just like, a live band would be great, because today most of our youth, they have no idea how amazing it is and how powerful it is to have a live band. I remember when I went out to a club and what was that?
No, me and my mom was just laughing when you said live band, because she used to always get on me like, yo, you never been to a concert with a live band yet. Now, my fault, I didn't want to cut your wisdom, but we was both sitting here laughing, because maybe, what was it, like 2011, 2010, something like that. She on my solar return, she took me to see a live band, and I could definitely vouch for the fact that it's a difference between a live band and just, electronic beats in somebody, you know, trying to project their message.
God.
It's a big difference.
It is.
In the rhythm of that horn is hitting you, the piano, the drum, the flute, all of that. Pardon me. Yeah.
I apologize, but I want to put this out to the family. I mean, especially because I know there are some amazing entertainers out there that really they're looking for a place to come and be able to put forth their craft. But let me just say this to those amazing entertainers. Let me tell you, you are amazing in your own right, but you go way beyond the universal realm when you have a live band. It is nothing like being in a room when a live band is just tuning up. They ain't even begun to play. Because when a band starts tuning up, those various different tunes and tones that they go through, they are going to resonate within you. They are priming you for the amazement that is to come. And when they begin to play as a live band, look, when you leave out of that place, if you ain't floating on air, you're dead.
Right.
Right, man? Right?
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
If you ain't floating on air, I mean, so it's and what's amazing is so many places in your mind open up. It's like you can't, when you go home, you can't sleep.
No, I was about to say a lot of people. It's a necessary. I think that has to be a necessary experience on this life plane, because that vibration, it extends way beyond, you know, the opening and closing of the show. You leave with that vibe, especially the closer you are to the band playing. You know, you leave out with those vibes. I was high off that band for like a week. You know what I mean? Just off the vibration.
Yes.
And you can't even explain it to somebody. You try to, and you could get it, but you got to feel that. And another thing to point out about it is that it's actually one of the 7 liberal arts, which Moors are the masters of in this primitive times, even to this day. So, you know, when we look at the liberal arts, and music is not one of them for no reason, and I have to emphasize that liberality, liberty, and freedom are all synonymous terms. So you're talking about freedom arts. Your freedom isn't always based off of trying to prove something to the European. It's about what you got going on internally in you as well. So music is a fine example of that. And even if you go back to the days where, you know, people played just the drums alone, you know, is healing in that. It's a healing in that. Certain people's heartbeats and vibrations get into a certain harmonized rhythm. And you know what I mean? There's a lot of health in that, spiritual growth. So, yeah, I definitely have to vouch for the live bands. Big acknowledgement for all the jazz players, with the real instruments, though. I mean, that are pulling their horns and their trumpets out of the case to give you that vibe. You know what I mean? Not nothing wrong with the other vibrations and beats, but we're not talking electric. We're talking, we are talking electric, but nothing plugged in. I mean, we're talking natural air, right? Still going back to the elements, being tuned through an instrument to give a vibration. That's science. So the liberal arts are very important. Music, you got to vouch for. And like you said, if you walk away with nothing, you're just a disembodied shell. So for sure, really.
Yeah. And you know, it's because of those vibrations that they had to, like, infiltrate the whole music industry. Because, look, if you go back to, like, let me think, like the 70s, 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Now, a lot of people might not not be feeling the what was, you know, they might not be feeling the music of that time, but I would say to people, go back and look, listen. Try to be objective and listen, because a lot of those musics of the 60s, 70s, you know, coming into the early 80s, they had a message. They was trying to open. I mean, look, I'm going to tell you right, look at just Earth, Wind, and Fire. They gave so much revelations in their music, the words, the sound, the way things were put together. I mean, it was just amazing. They're not the only ones. I mean, you even the early day rappers, they did the same thing. So we might want to go back and revisit those. But caller 910-220. I'll say this to you.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, you're really you're at a place where you can be an innovator and establish a place for people. Because I don't care what's going on in people's lives. You know, it might appear to be negative or positive or whatever. The energy that's coming in and is being held today is for people who know that they are here to do something. If nothing more, is just to hold a positive energy. They're going to need a place to go to recharge up. Just like unplug and charge up at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And so you can be that innovative place that's not like the rest of the place. You can have the same name, and people can make the presumption that you're bringing the same negative energy, but just, me personally, I would think that it would just be so beneficial for people to make the presumption and show up and just get their minds blown, because you're doing something so much more higher energy that, it's just no choice but for their minds to be blown, and that's a great thing. And look, Cujo got so much positive, uplifting music. I think if there was a venue where more conscious Moors can go to put on a concert, by Moors who are conscious and awake and trying to hold down that type of an energy, that type of a venue, it would be a fantastic thing. Because we got so much. We got Sister Misery, who, generally is our closeout music. There's so many more out there. Really, pun intended, there's so many more out there that we don't know about, that would just love a venue where they can just put their craft down and just transform somebody.
Hold on. Before you go on another note of so many other Moors being out there, got to give a big shout out to the sister Roots K. I was able to obtain her CD from Cujo when he came down here, and I had my mother listen to it. The sister got lyrics. You know what I mean? Not all. It's so, but like you said, it's so many. But I had to just take a moment to acknowledge that sister's craft. If you can, Google her. You know what I mean? Look at what she got out there already. And
well, maybe what you can do is, like, we can do a feature closeout music of her. You can, because that's how. Shoot, a lot of people didn't know about Misery, myself included, until she sent us that powerful.
Could I get her name again?
Hold up.
Could I get her name?
Yeah.
Again?
Her appellation, her what you can Google and get into her music. You got our sister Misery, Mzery, and our sister Roots K. That's Roots, like the movie Roots, and the letter K. Yeah, Roots K. So sisters are doing their thing, but like you said, and brothers too. But the sisters are putting it down. I love that. You know what I mean? I love the brothers that's doing it. Because the radio, we'll have no future in them as far as music. It's just no way. Yeah, if we leave it to them, we would never but it'll get there. You know what I mean? And like the brother said, we're gonna work it out. But for sure, it's a lot of talent out there, you know, and I just trust that whatever your craft is, whatever your artistic skills are, and your imagination expressions, stay on that. Whoever's out there doing that, they're putting together their own craft, from music to jewelry to, you know, visual artists, all of these things. It has extremely ancient roots to our culture. So we got to have a certain respect for that, too, because it's not all of these things are connected to good vibrations in existence. So, for sure. But, yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why I had my mother listen to it. I figured y'all were both like that. And I definitely going to share that with you. Definitely order another copy from the sister and make sure you got one yourself as well. Everybody should get those. So, yeah.
Yeah, but like I say, you gave me a lot of insight because I'm sitting here thinking what you're saying. There's more people who don't indulge than that do indulge. So you got like it gives anybody and everybody a place to go. I got you. I follow you. It makes sense. I just got to figure out how to make it happen.
Indeed.
You know, it makes a lot of sense. But that's what I was calling for. I was just sitting here wondering. I've been wondering for a little while and looking at things, and like I said, it just didn't sit right with me. You know, for whatever reason, but I have a different insight, a different way of looking at it now. So Islam.
Islam.
All right, Islam, thank you so much for that call and information. Peace and love. All right, caller 510-334. You are live on the air. Please state your appellation and Northwest Maxim.
Islam, peace, family. This is Anthony Ali Shanko Bay, listening into the show. Hi.
Islam, Anthony. Good to hear from you again.
Good to hear y'all. I've been listening every week.
Okay.
Great.
All right.
Been great. I just wanted to, actually, I just got a letter in the mail, and I called yesterday. I got a letter from the state in my de jure name, in my straw name, I want to say. So, nom de guerre, thank you, nom de guerre, said that it's a frivolous argument, don't want to hear anything about the Constitution. And that's one of the lines it says.
Wait a minute, hold on. You said they said it was a frivolous argument to talk about the Constitution. That's what they said in the letter?
Yeah, it says it right there. Yeah, it says we will not respond to further objections you make about state taxes based on constitutional, religious, or moral grounds. This is in my.
Hold on. Before you continue, can you please identify who is saying that?
This is Royce Larson of the California Internet and Telephone Assistance Department.
The what? California what?
I'm sorry, this is State of California, Accounts Receivable Management Division, Franchise Tax Board.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, they don't have the authority to do it.
No. That's not the state of California, honey. I know that. I know it. Because that sounds like a contractor speaking on behalf of the state. And then when you say franchise tax, the state doesn't collect tax. It's the county corporation that collects tax. But they try to do it under the guise of the state.
So what they're saying is, they're a corporation, and they're saying, we violate the law, we don't care. And so you need to say, well, They have no judicial authority to make any decisions regarding, I guess, tax matters.
Well, really, what they're trying to do is they're trying to make you think that they're speaking on behalf of the state when they're not, because they were hired by the state to perform an administrative function. And so, yeah, they are speaking on behalf of the state, but they only have jurisdiction to speak on those people who are engaging in commerce. I know this for a fact. So what they're trying to overstep their boundaries in terms of their contractual obligation, or there's contractual obligation with the state. So here's what you do, my brother. Write them a response. Real simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid, kids. Ask them to provide the law to support that position. That's it. Don't say nothing else. That's it. Ask them to provide the law, because here's the thing. They're telling you their statutory process. Statutes are written to administer the law, but they have to tell you what the law is that this statute is administering. So ask them to give you the reference and where you can go, and or provide you a copy of the law that supports that position. Because really what they're saying is, this is what they're saying. You went to Walmart and you said, Walmart, are you functioning in terms of the Constitution? And Walmart is saying, what do you mean? I'm here to engage in commercial activity. Constitution doesn't have anything to do with this.
And also the fact that they said that they're not acknowledging any constitutional, religious, or moral claims, that is the perfect reason to never pay tax to them over everything else, because it's supposed to be a contribution for the betterment of society, allegedly. And if you're not going to respect those fundamental principles, then there's no need to contribute to a system or society or corporation even, or any type of nefarious, malicious, malefic people who would even say something like that. It's not
right. So here's where it comes in at, and my mind is thinking, oh, all right, so you say you're speaking for the state, and we know that the state is are nothing but trustees with a derived authority. That derived authority is, in fact, the Constitution. So tell me who are you, and where do you get your authority from? That's what the delegation of authority is. And as Annie said, please provide. Because otherwise than that, if they're not doing it within law, then who are these people? They're just some people saying you owe them, and they need to produce the contract. Now you can go to civil, all right? You want to go to civil? And say then, in that fact, produce the contract then, because you don't know who these people are, because clearly they just told you they don't give a jack about the Constitution, but yet they're representing the state. All right, and recall this. There is California state, which is one of the republics, which is the republic referred to in the Constitution as one of the unions. And then there's something, Brother Anthony, called State of California. Now, State of California is, in fact, a corporation. So this is what you got to say. So where do you get your authority? Oh, and if they want to go civil, okay, produce the contract with my signature that I have with you, because clearly they're not operating as, quote, unquote, any government or under any law, and they're telling you that. So you go back and say, well, then who are you then? And what is this contract? And as Annie said, what is if they stated a statute, they're talking about a corporate policy now. So that's right back to who are you? And that corporate policy has jack to do with you. And if they think it does, they need to produce for you the contract where you engaged with them. That's what you write back to them. They're bluffing you now. But they're telling you the truth. We don't give a jack about the law. So then if you don't, who are you? Because you're speaking for the state. But clear up. What state? California State Republic or State of California, which is absolutely a corporation.
Yes,
that you're not a part of.
Okay. I have to admit, though, they did say in the very beginning, what part of this letter, it did say the California Constitution grants the California legislature its legislative authority.
California doesn't have a legislature. California calls, okay, look, the only legislator is not any state's legislature. They got a department that they call the legislative department, but it means nothing because they don't have power to legislate shit. I mean, anything, except for their corporation, which you are not a part of, nor are you obligated to. All right?
Right.
So the California legislature is when they set up their little corporation or whatever like that, they call a legislative department an executive department, but they got nothing to legislate at all because whatever they're creating in their meetings to legislate is not law. And it applies to those who are members only.
That's right. That's right. Now, remember, what you need to do is read the American Constitution of 1791 because that is the supreme law of the land, and it is from that the delegation of powers are assigned. But remember, the delegation of a power comes from the people, not any corporation, not any employee, not any contractor. The delegation of a power comes from the people. And they like to make you think that is collective, but no, it ain't. No, it ain't. And it is absolutely void if it is enriching a certain group of people at the exclusion of another group of people.
Right. So in other words, if they're saying they're speaking for the state or whatever like that, remember that a state is but a trustee, that's public trustee, with a derived authority, which you know is the Constitution, right? So they're a corporation, a charter, an enclave, registered under the state. But does the state know what they're really doing? You see what I'm saying? They're registered under the state, so they're an enclave of it. So therefore, since they're operating and talking about they're under the state, what part of that, they're registered? But none of that means that they can deny or defy the law of the land. They can't. So if the state registered and they're an enclave of the state, but they're violating state law, which is constitutional law because Article 6 says that. So they're trying to take, look, we're independent and we say you owe us this. And, all right, so who are you? Don't even speak for the state. Keep the state out of it because that's not what you're doing. And then wouldn't he report this to the state as a suit against them, right, that this is what they're doing?
Yes, because what they're doing is they are arbitrarily, without any type of authority, they're speaking on behalf of the state, but they can't speak on behalf of the state. They can only speak on behalf of themselves, and they have to always reference where they have derived that authority. Where's their jurisdiction? Where does that come from? That comes from their charter. But see, what a lot of people don't know is that their authority is to only administer commercial activity, and that is it. They don't have any more jurisdiction at all, period. Now, when they start talking about, we don't subscribe to the American Constitution, which, by the way, is the supreme law of the land. Okay, well, then that's when you have to Well, what I would do is I would ask them to please produce the law to support that, And at the same time, I would send a letter to the state attorney governor and the attorney general and the governor, asking them if they for them to provide documentation where they delegated authority to this particular contractor, because it is within their contract or their charter that what they can as well as cannot do is defined. And you will find that much of what they're doing, they can't do because they're only contracted to administer commercial activity, not private activity. And that's why we got so many case laws that says that they don't have any jurisdiction. Basically, that's what it's saying. They don't have any jurisdiction. They don't have any jurisdiction. They don't have any jurisdiction. Why? Because they are companies/corporations, and the Constitution was written to protect the people against companies/corporations and their unconstitutional infringement of the liberties of the people. That's it. That's all.
This long. Peace. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you so much for your call and putting that on the table, because I'm sure that's going to help a lot of people.
You're welcome.
All right. Peace and love. All right. Caller 248-760. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest of Mexham.
Scotty Morgan Bay, Northwest of Mexham, the territory of Michigan. Islam. All right. Wow. The brother who's 313, I believe it was, he's from the Michigan territory. He thinks he's the only one. I'm here to tell him he's not, and I'd love for him to get my number. If it's okay. I mean, I'd love to get in touch with him. He said he's into music, and so am I. And it's amazing you guys touched on the music, because I was just thinking, you know, in response to that, when these hate groups come out, you know, the Nazi and all that nonsense, you know, that's one of the things they do to recruit these and destroy young minds, is they have their own music, and they're ferocious putting that music out, because that's how you reach the young minds, and that's how you reach people too. So we really should make a concerted effort to put together music, even if, you know, produce it, a record company, however, put our own stuff out and start reaching our people in the same way, but with a positive message of love. Because if we do things in the spirit of love, that's how we're going to reach their minds. Because right now we're competing for their minds, and the Little Waynes and so, you know, and those knuckleheads, they're winning the war at this point, if you want to, you know, refer to it as a war. So anyway, I would love to contact him. I didn't catch his name, but if there's any way possible, you guys could. I mean, I don't know if I should give my number out on the air. Is that all right? I don't know, but I'd like to contact him. He's local.
Please don't give your number out. Please don't give your number out on the air.
That's fine. Yeah, I got you.
What you can do is send an email to MHHS-Eyes Wide Open at gmail.com. And also the brother that was talking about the club and the music and things of that nature.
Not him.
Not him?
No, not him. The one from the 313 area code, the one just before him. The one who talked about. Yeah, he's from Michigan territory too, and he has a wife and the kids, and you know he has the wife and the two kids.
Children, we don't have goats. Children, we don't have goats. Children. But, okay, so if that brother from the 313 area code can just send an email to MHHS-Eyes-Wide-Open at gmail.com, just letting us know that it's all right for us to pass his information on, and what that information would be, we can forward it to you.
Right.
That'll work.
You know which
because
one
we're both
about.
in Michigan. I mean, I'm only 20 minutes from, the 313 area. I'm in 248. I'm in Oakland County. He lives in Wayne County. So we're neighbors. And I'd love to get together with him. Huh?
Right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, because we're both in the music, and man, I think we can collaborate and start doing the thing right here. You know, we'll be the new Motown, but we'll call it Moortown, baby.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. That's right.
Okay. I have one question to ask Sister Ra, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Going to paraphrase a statement you made involving a YouTube video that I watched you on. I think it's the only one you're on, unfortunately. I would love to see you more. I mean, besides you being very literate and you don't look too bad either. Okay, anyway, enough of that. But you mentioned, and no disrespect to your son. You know what's up, man. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that either, you know.
That's all right. Okay. Yeah, we just laughed. It's all good. Thank you.
All right. You mentioned that the 7 stages of mooring within the woman's womb, the Moorish women's womb. The question I have is does that apply also to the European woman as well, or any other non-Moorish women?
Well, anyone who comes. Well, all right. So it's kind of got to go back to. It does apply to anyone who's birthed into the human flesh, and that would include them, because remember when we first mixed our DNA on those experiments, it took generations, and really they were counting them like by 14, 15 years, because that's how old a woman can be before she can have a child. So every 14 years, which isn't that long, the next generation of beings, for them, I'm saying, for them, it got increasingly more upright, you know what I'm saying? And, okay, all right. But, yes, that method of mooring goes for everyone in terms of relating it to the womb, because everyone goes through 7 stages of development in the waters of their mother's womb. So it doesn't matter whether that person went through 7 stages of development in the waters of a European mother's womb. Whatever she is in terms of her nationality is what that child is. Yeah. So that's the process. That's the human flesh process. Yeah.
So by default, then I guess they could be considered Moors as well.
Well, you know what? That's a very good thing to bring to the table, because so many people have that question and that separation there. In the instance that we are the mothers and fathers of civilization on the planet, we are the Aboriginal indigenous people, right? Carbon-based, melanin, the whole bit. And that we, in fact, gave up our DNA, which is what makes them, which is why one mother's breast had really given you such that terminology. We gave up our DNA when we did this experiment to create them, and then that's why it says, look what you have wrought. In that respect, we could say yes, but we created a being, all right, and we established a separate, that's why it's one nation, indivisible, right? But we are not the same. It's just, I mean, we're not the same. It was it's something that we created. Could it be Islam? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Could they be considered like a pseudo or a facsimile of something in that area? You could kind of say that, because if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't have had to have had it had brought them into the fold of government at the time and created the other nation, which is which is the duality. See, people think, oh, I got dual citizenship. No, it's not like that. And we would have never had to do that. And that's why the prophet said we do not wish to amalgamate with the pale-skinned nation. We got to understand what he meant by that, because they were right. And so, therefore, we have to go with origins. But now let's make it clear. A European, one who says, when you say, what is your nationality, determined by your mother, they cannot have, as an example, a card that says they're Aboriginal and Indigenous, because they're not. All right, they may be indigenous to some land place, and they have rights as well. That's what this whole thing is about: bringing peace. What is it? Unalienable rights bestowed to all. Equal to all. So that's what this thing was about. So they can't have a call.
Imagine this. Everyone's coming over for the cookout later, but insects have invaded your yard by the thousands. You think you're doomed. Think again. Think Amdro. New Amdro Quick Kill works fast, just like the name says. In fact, Amdro Quick Kill liquids work in minutes and kill over 500 insects. Now all you have to worry about is running out of burgers.